I'll call the meeting at 4:15 this afternoon. And the first thing I'd like to do is ask for the approval of the minutes of the last meeting as read.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'm going to abstain because I was not a commissioner when
Okay, I'll second the motion. All those in favor, say aye. Aye, the ayes have it. It's now time to reorganize our board, to select a chairman, a vice chairman, and a secretary. Does anyone have any thoughts?
No.
I recommend that we maintain my position as chairman, that we have Dan Burns as vice chairman, and that we have Julia as our secretary. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Oh. Did you want to discuss that?
Well, this isn't my strong suit, but if, that's my assignment for this year, then that's what I will do.
Yeah, it just follow what Hayden did. When you can see his notes and very simple. Okay. Are there any updates from previous meetings? No one's visiting, right?
No one's visiting, no.
Okay. So let's go ahead and get the invoices out. I see they put in the flag between requested, friend. And today is what? Today is 4/25.
I have a bunch of copies of the agenda. Does anybody need one? Doesn't have one?
Yeah, I need to ask what's happening now.
All we're doing is signing, approving the invoices that have been sent to us for the expenses that have been incurred under different trusts.
Okay,
In particular case that I have right here is the library trust. And I think you have a library trust one too, and you can just write down that we have approved the invoices presented. Okay,
and how do I get up to speed? Is it that because the chair deems them to fit within whatever parameters exist, that therefore, I sign off, like, I truly just want to understand what I'm
okay.
doing.
Here are the trust funds.
Yes, yes,
And you can take that with you.
Right.
And basically, we all know, because we've worked with it for so long, that the library sends us invoices against their library trust funds. And we know that the person who does that does an accurate job of telling what they bought and what it costs, and we approve that invoice. If we have any questions on it, we can stop and not approve the invoice and ask questions.
okay,
But that really happens, because most people do what they're supposed to do.
Mhm.
I think we've had maybe, in my 18 years here, maybe 3 times when we question something. And when we question something, we don't approve the invoice. We ask the people who are involved to come in and explain what it is that they want to do and, why they want.
And to Joe's point, usually it's something unrelated to the library, if there's a
Okay.
question.
So as I understand it, there are 2 parameters that we are responsible for ensuring have been met. The first parameter is the purpose of the fund
Right,
and whatever the donor restriction may be, right?
Sure.
And then the second parameter I thought, and then here's where I can learn, is the amount for the year that's available.
yes,
So whatever the spending rule is for the year, right?
right.
So is there someone who, does the treasurer do that calculation? And then the person from the library who always does what they're supposed to do, are they aware of what the spending rule is for their funds for that year?
They are aware, and the treasurer does oversee that before it gets to us. You will notice that one time, when the Board of Health came in here, because they wanted to spend more than what they thought they were supposed to spend, it turned out that they actually had the right to spend the more that they chose to spend.
Mhm.
And we went over that with both the scholarship, which they wanted to raise in price, and, the spending, for that year, if I recall. They thought they were limited to a certain amount, but when we went to the, trust document, it grew that amount by inflation. And it indicated that they could spend more money as long as it was within a certain framework, that the amount would continue to grow over
Okay.
time.
So the treasurer is the first stop for that question, whether it fits within the parameter of the amount.
Right.
Is that correct? Okay.
Right, and we've seen a few times a spreadsheet that, and maybe actually at the next meeting, you can share it with everyone, just as a refresher, that shows the spending rules for all 90-something, kind of summarized in a table.
So it really is a fund by fund analysis of what the spending rule is.
Yes,
Okay.
and you'll see,
They're reasonably, there's a good chunk of them are pretty consistent, but
Yeah.
this is a question I've raised a few times in the past, where some of them will say something like, you can only spend the income.
Mhm.
And, sort of a poorly defined term, does that mean like interest and dividends? In which case, is the manager of the investment pool telling us exactly what the interest and dividends are? We only in the last year have come out of a period of very low interest rates, where interest rates were close to 0 for several years. So I kind of raised the question of, are these trusts written appropriately? And in fact, we had one gentleman recently who I'm still working on a letter, whose spending rule, I think, was not quite appropriate, and we may go back to him while he's still alive and still here, to just say, are you sure, would you consider, making your spending rule something a little more sustainable?
that particular person was somebody who left some money to the library for baseball books.
Mhm.
And he wanted just, I think what he wanted was income to be, and capital gains to be spent. And we told him that it would last forever if you just put a 4% per year
Mhm.
amount. And we called him up and he, at that point, said, no, I don't mind if the trust goes away.
Mhm.
Okay, he wanted it, I think, I don't.
In which case, we need a much more aggressive spending rule.
Mhm.
If
Okay.
he wants to see this money put to use, in his life for 10 years or whatever.
But for most of the people, we have a spending rule of 4% of the assets of the fund on an annual basis,
Okay.
for most people.
And I'm sure you've dealt with this professionally, but it's much better to know who the person is and that they're around and you can go talk to them, whereas some of the trusts are quite old, and
Yeah.
even the attorneys who put them together are, long since gone, and what are you supposed to do?
Right, on the scholarships, of which there are many, like 80, 85, something like that. And Galati, right? And Galati of the high school will come to us in September and tell us exactly what they are. And then she writes a letter to all the donors of the funds to make sure that they are in compliance with what is going to be used as the scholarship money for the following year.
Okay, I have more questions, but those
Oh,
are
yeah.
my questions to allow me to.
Joe's heard me talk about this for a long time now, but I undertook a project where I scanned all of the documents in these binders. So I have a giant virtual pile of PDFs. I've named most of them for the trust so that, when I'm done, that can hopefully be an easy, quick reference where, if we do get an invoice from a particular trust for, 5 boxes of pizza, we can review the trust and say, is this an appropriate expense? And we can do that kind of quickly in real time.
And generally, if we're told in advance, and we usually are, that someone wants to come in for a specific cause, we generally go through our written documents, make copies of them, and use them as our guide when we have fun, when we meet with the schedule.
So if I take this as an example, where is the trust fund?
Library trust fund,
Well, is it just on this? I don't, like,
We should be able to see it in the
is it on
account,
this page?
in the account number.
So it would be up top.
Here, it's not actually going to tell you what that trust fund is,
Oh,
but the
okay.
fact that it says 8,600 is a trust fund. So
Okay.
8,600, 8,700.
So that's how you tell, and there's nothing here that tells me the
Right,
fund from
right.
which it's being drawn.
Yeah,
Okay,
We can provide you with a list that shows the name of the trust fund and what general ledger account numbers.
oh, that
That's
would be
what that
so
just came
helpful. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
okay.
so just, if you see an 8,500 number, you'll know that that's a town trust. If you see 8,600, it's a library, and then if you see 8,700, that's the schools. So it kind of gives you an idea as to which department is reaching out.
Yeah, for example, that flag one, we noticed, Dan noticed when he came by that the flag flying over the common was very ragged. And thought that was inappropriate for the town of Needham to show a flag that had been torn because of the wind, et cetera, age of use. So he called me and we called the, what did I say? We called
I
the,
think you were gonna reach out to
Park and
someone
Rec.
at the VFW or Park and Rec.
yeah, it was pocket. I reached out and it was really a town, there's an organization anyway that takes care of that. And they had plenty of funds to purchase a new
Oh, has
flag.
it been done?
It's been done.
Oh, nice work.
I don't know if you saw
Are you
it.
talking about the banners?
No,
The flag itself.
the big,
United
the big
States.
American
Oh,
flag.
okay, I'm sorry.
Was torn, it was torn a lot, from the wind. And we got that replaced, and no problem, and I told them if they needed the money that we would find it.
So this is 8,700, which must be the school.
Yeah. And usually they do write the name of if you see a voucher like that, they've written the name
Yep,
of
the
the,
John C. Wood Trust.
yes, there you go.
How many years are we away from having this be sort of a flowed through digital process?
Don't look at me, Dan. I think
Challenge
we-
accepted.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
I think that would be the next step, is to work on.
I think there are probably other processes that are also very manual that are probably higher priority than these, but
It can be on the list.
What we have is our next agenda item. To schedule future meetings, and it says the next 6.
I was thinking, let's get it in everybody's calendar earlier and then people be able to do their life planning.
could I actually raise 1 or 2 questions
Sure.
before we go on to that? Because that's usually the last item. So we now have a new secretary, Hayden Traub has, he sent us a zip file of all of the minutes he's taken for many years. What happens to those minutes? Where are they going to go?
I would recommend that they be submitted to the town clerk, the official keeper of the records of the town. point one. Point two, I think there was a discussion, I don't know if it was last meeting or a meeting prior, that we should post up our minutes on the web page where the trust commissioners have a page, so that anybody who would like to be able to see the minutes, that they would be there. And that's something that we can accomplish.
Okay. And is that does someone have to ask the town clerk's office to do that, or how should we do that?
It was given to you two different responses. The
Yep.
filing is just submitting official copies to the town clerk's office as the keeper of all town records, and that is the repository. The other is for public convenience, which is within our control, that we, meaning staff, we can put it up onto the website that we have allocated for the trust fund commissioners.
Sure.
So folks can read, if you go to the,
I'm sorry to interrupt, is that a royal we, is that, like, do we need to ask someone in particular
No,
to do that, or?
I'm saying that it's now gonna be done, because
Okay.
I'm offering to have it done.
Okay, thank you.
So, yeah, I just want to make sure that commissioners were good with that happening.
Okay,
And, within the next few weeks, we can have a history of minutes up on the website.
okay. Great.
Should we make a motion as such
Please.
formally, or I'll make a motion that we should publish our minutes on a website? Town's website.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. The ayes have it. Unanimous. Now, we're gonna try to schedule the next 6 meetings, eh? That's very easy for me to do. I don't know about those who work for them. Yeah.
Of course, you're not, bound, you're always allowed to amend,
Right.
so.
Let's work first on the month of May. Month of May, Thursdays are the 23rd and the 30th. And the 16th. And there are no special, other than Memorial Day on the 27th, which is a Monday, there are no special days to worry about in May. How do my working fellows,
May 23rd looks fine. to me.
I can't do the 16th. I can do the 23rd.
4:15, is that good for you?
It can be different. I have a meeting, a standing meeting that ends at 4. And so I just need, like, it can be 4:15, 4:30, whatever works.
I can do 4:30, how, it doesn't matter to me.
Sure, 4:30 is better for me, and it
You-
sounds like that
Advertise.
takes a little pressure off
It
you,
does,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so let's do 4:30.
Okay. And let's try June also. And in June, first day of summer, it will be a Thursday, and it is the 20th.
I'll be away.
There's the 13th of the 27th.
Thirteenth works, 27th.
I prefer the 27th, and I'll tell you why. But
27th is good, June 27th.
okay, 4:30. Now, we don't meet in July and August, but we are available by email to come in and sign invoices as needed. Okay? So, hopefully you have our email addresses. If not, you can get them from Diane. And, Diane, do you have, Julia's email address?
I do.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and, we will respond and make sure the invoices get paid on time, et cetera. So we'll go for one more meeting in September. We'll see what September looks like. And again, keep in mind, that you only need 2 signatures to approve the invoices. Okay, in case someone's on vacation and want to pay something right away. September 26th is late in the month. We can come a little bit earlier, but we generally like to give time for Ann Gadudi to do her thing for the scholarship, so.
So I have a Perkins board meeting on the 26th, and I have an audit committee on the 19th.
We can do the 12th, no? We can do the 12th.
Mondays are good too, if you wanna keep it later in the month.
How do we look on the 23rd? Judy?
Let me check.
Huh? Okay, so we'll do 4:30 on the 23rd of September. And again, we can adjust these as we say, if necessary.
Okay, just in summary, May 23rd, June 27th, September 23rd. All at 4:30.
What's that?
2 Thursdays and a Monday,
Mhm.
right?
I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
I have a question. I have a topic not reasonably anticipated by the chair. Will Rockland Trust put me on their list of people to receive is it monthly statements?
Yes. Has that been done? Did we do that the last meeting? I think we did that. at the
They
last-
took down my information, and
Right.
so I just wanted to confirm, that was one thing I wanted to ask. And the other thing is, it came up, the investment policy statement.
Right.
Hayden hadn't sent that along to me, and I didn't want to bug him for it. Is it available in another way?
It's available online, and, do you happen to have a copy of it?
You say it's available online, what do you mean?
From one of Aiden's emails.
Right, I tend to delete all of my emails, so I'm happy to just ask him, he'll really know.
Oh, and I'll ask him, I just didn't want to bother him. I would think that,
Oh, I don't mind both.
But it raises kind of a bigger, it raises an interesting question, so minutes of a public meeting should be public, on the website. But something like the digital copies that I've made of all these trust documents,
Is this what you would have?
that is, yeah, this is it. I can give you this
a
paper,
copy.
but we should,
Wait, I'm gonna make a copy. Okay.
but my question more is like,
Absolutely.
do we as a committee or commission have sort of our own non-public digital archive of stuff?
portal.
So, yeah, so for example, all the scanned copies of these trust documents, I don't think that those would be appropriate to post on a public website,
No,
but arguably they shouldn't just live in my personal file storage, shared with whoever I choose to share them with.
Mhm.
So I don't know what technology resource the town has to do something like that. And just my point being like something like the investment policy
Mhm.
statement, Word document should live there too.
Yeah,
I would like you to make a copy of that and give it to Julia.
Mhm.
However, I'm gonna get in touch with Hayden and ask him to send me and you a current copy, the most recent copy he has, because the approvals, we have to approve it once every year. And I know we approved it at the end of last year, and I would like to have it with that date on the bottom of the page.
Yeah.
That's all.
okay,
Okay. So we do approve them once a year,
okay.
and we do generally do that in November.
Oh, because this one says reapproved on
21.
12/21, yeah.
And I think we may have made a slight change since then, but I'm not sure. So I'll get Hayden to send it to us.
I'm not aware of any, secure, limited digital platform that would just be for this. But, I don't know if you would follow up on. You would follow up.
Effectively, you would be the custodian of the records, and when anybody needs them, you would get it to them. But no, we don't have like a NetTP site or anything.
All right.
I'm happy to keep them on my own box.com and just share them with everyone or whatever works.
Okay.
Four. Okay.
Are there any other topics we would like to discuss? Please feel free.
Those are the first things that came to mind, for me.
And going back to that, we could just have a copy also exist in our system, so at least there's some sort of backup
Mhm.
to your documents. The document.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We adjourned at 4:40.